If the 1980s rally scene was a party, Group B was the point in the evening when the sensible people had gone home. The booze cupboard was empty and someone had decided to see how much whiskey you could pour into a blender with a whole block of ice. Group B cars weren't so much rally machines as barely contained thermonuclear weapons with wheels. And yet, even in that atmosphere of lunacy, Lancia's engineers managed to create something so radical, so deranged, that it made the Delta S4, a car that could already bend the laws of physics, look like a school project. This was the Lancia ECV, or Experimental Composite Vehicle, and at its heart sat one of the most fascinating power plants ever conceived, the Triflux engine. It wasn't just powerful, it was a deliberate attempt to completely outwit the normal rules of how air, fuel and explosions behave in a combustion chamber. It was an engineer's what if, taken to its logical, terrifying extreme. So let me set the scene. Group S. This was the championship, which was thought up to replace Group B from 1988. The FIA's big idea was to keep the technical creativity but slap on a sensible power cap of around 300 horsepower via either a tiny 1.2 litre turbo engine or a naturally aspirated 2.4 litre engine. This was to prevent the sort of high horsepower insanity that had led to multiple fatal accidents in Group B. The logic was sound enough: give the engineers a playground but take away the nuclear weapons. Naturally, the engineers immediately started smuggling them back in. Lancia, Peugeot and Toyota all began developing Group S prototypes in the mid-80s, quietly ignoring the horsepower limits in the hope that either the rules would change or they could reinterpret them. Lancia's answer was the ECV, unveiled in 1986, a year before it was meant to compete. And just as the axe fell on Group B entirely, the whole formula was scrapped, and with it, Group S. But by that point, Lancia had already created a monster. You see, the ECV wasn't just a tweaked Delta S4, it was lighter, slippier, and far more advanced in materials and construction. Kevlar and carbon fiber were everywhere, body panels, structural elements, even the wheels. This made it absurdly light for something with four-wheel drive, huge turbos, and enough intercooler plumbing to make a small oil refinery jealous. On the outside, it looked like an S4 that had been sharpened in a wind tunnel. Flatter planes, bigger ducts, and rally-bred aggression dialed up to we might scare small children. But the real witchcraft was under the skin. Instead of the S4's exotic twin charging, i.e. turbo and supercharger, the ECV's engineers, led by Claudio Lombardi, decided to drop the belt-driven supercharger and add another turbo. But let's get back to the weird name of this engine. I mean, Triflux, what does that mean? Well, the name Triflux refers to the way gases moves through this engine. Most engines have intake valves on the one side of the head and exhaust on the other. Hot side, cold side, that's it. The Triflux, it threw that idea out the window. Instead, each cylinder had its intake and exhaust valves arranged diagonally, like a cross. So the exhaust ports alternated sides as you went along the head. This meant two entirely separate exhaust manifolds could be built, each feeding its own turbocharger. The third flow in Triflux, well, that's the intake air, routed centrally through the head, with perfect equal length runners to each cylinder. This kept airflow balanced, reduced turbulence, and generally made other turbo systems look like they'd been designed by a plumber on his lunch break. The cross-flow layout had another advantage: it eliminated the hot side of the head. Temperature distribution was even, so you could run ludicrous boost pressures without turning the head gasket into confetti. But, talking about boost, how much power did this thing make? Well, in its mildest form, the Triflux engine made around 600 horsepower from just 1.8 litres. In full fat trim, it could hit and occasionally exceed 800. That's 800 horsepower in a car weighing just 900 kilograms, with 4-wheel drive and rally gearing. You're talking about acceleration that would make a modern hypercar feel like a family hatchback. Test drivers, the sort of people who thought an S4 was fine for a Sunday drive, said it was borderline undrivable. On boost, it was so violent it could scramble your vision. But what do you do when you build a beast and have no place to tame it? Well, you double down. You see, when Group S was scanned, the ECV should have been dead and buried. But Lancia didn't give up. They simply doubled down. The ECV2 was essentially the same drivetrain, the Triflux twin-turbo engine, the composite chassis, all wrapped in a body that looked like someone had melted a Delta Integrale over a Le Mans prototype. The ECV2 was even more aerodynamically focused, gone with the boxy rally proportions. It had a long, low nose, smoother flanks, and a tail section that looked ready to take on the Circuit della Sarte rather than San Remo. Their use of carbon and Kevlar was further refined, making it lighter still, while cooling and downforce were improved for higher speed stability. But here's the thing, the ECV2 was never destined to compete. By 1988, the FIA had slammed the door shut on anything resembling Group B X's. The ECV2 was essentially a design exercise, a rolling laboratory for Lancia and a bath to show off what they could do if the rule makers stopped breathing down their necks. But both ECVs remain rally's ultimate what-if machines. If Group S had gone ahead, the ECV could have rewritten the limits of rally performance. But the flip side is obvious. In the hands of 1980s drivers on 1980s rally stages with 1980s safety, it could have been lethal. Today, only a handful of the original Triflux engines exist, and just one ECV survives in anything like its original form, thanks to Giuseppe Volta, and a Bath and Lancia wizard who pieced one together from abandoned parts and completed it in 2010. The ECV2 exists as a single stunning prototype, now a museum piece and a reminder that Lancia once made cars so advanced they frightened their own drivers. But at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys think of the history of the Lancia ECV and the ECV2 and Group S. Now if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys did find it interesting, I've made videos on some of the other Group S prototypes as well, so just go and watch them after this one. Anyways, like I said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers,